Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mindset Forge, a podcast where we discuss the best ideas of humanity, the most useful practices, and the most skillful means for developing a more well-adjusted and adaptive mindset. To do this, I will be discussing latest science, ancient philosophy that has stood the test of time, as well as the thoughts and actions of important historical paragons. The goal is to give you tools and practices and ideas for your self-improvement, with the goal of moving ahead the entire humanity. Our discussion will focus on the ideas and practices with the most cash value, so practices that are easy to take up but hold enormous potential. And since most of these practices have to do with changing your thinking and attitudes, they are completely free. Call me Laurent Lohel, I will be your host, and welcome aboard. Also, make sure to like Mindset Forge on Spotify and YouTube, as well as check out our Discord server, where you can find links to my book, which you can buy on Amazon to support my another side enterprise of being a fiction author. Without further ado, let's get to the episode. Mindset Forge, episode 22, 8 common concerns and how to get over them. Fame or integrity, which is more important? Money or happiness, which is more valuable? Success or failure, which is more destructive? If you look to others for fulfillment, you will never truly be fulfilled. If your happiness depends on money, you will never be happy with yourself. Be content with what you have. Rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there is nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. Tao Te Ching, verse 44. Welcome back to the Mindset Forge, good listeners. I'm your host, ready to dive deep into the topic that unconsciously dominates our lives and dictates our behaviors. Today we are exploring the 8 worldly concerns, as defined in Buddhism: praise and blame, fame and insignificance, pleasure and pain, and gain and loss. It's in our human nature to chase after the former and avoid the latter in each pair. However, what if we told you that these pursuits often lead us into cycles of dissatisfaction, frustration, and suffering? What if there's an alternative way to approach life that could bring about a profound transformation in our mental and emotional well-being? Throughout this episode, we'll examine each of these concerns in detail, dissecting their influence on our lives and the unexpected pitfalls they carry. Drawing upon both scientific research and real-world examples, we'll explore how what we often see as inherently positive can have negative consequences, and vice versa. We'll delve into how praise can sometimes lead us astray, how fame can often become a heavy burden, how unbridled pleasure can turn into addiction, and how the pursuit of gain can lead us to an unexpected sense of emptiness. On the flip side, we learn about the power of resilience that emerges from facing blame, the inner peace that can come from insignificance, the growth that can spring from pain, and the strength that can be found in loss. So why should you stay tuned? Because this episode could fundamentally alter your perception of what's truly valuable in life and empower you to navigate life's ups and downs with greater peace and wisdom. In essence, we'll explore a new way of being, one that reduces suffering and amplifies joy and fulfillment. Let's start our exploration today by laying some groundwork around a topic deeply connected to our worldly concerns: motivation. Specifically, we'll be looking at two distinct types of motivations that influence our actions and decisions: intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Extrinsic motivation refers to actions driven by external reward or outcomes, such as money, fame, praise, or avoiding punishment. When we are extrinsically motivated, our behavior is influenced by what we stand to gain or lose in the material or social world. Many of the 8 worldly concerns fall into this category: the desire for praise, fame, pleasure or material gain, and the fear of blame, obscurity, pain or loss. On the other hand, intrinsic motivation involves engaging in behavior because it is personally rewarding, essentially performing an activity for its inherent satisfaction rather than for some separable outcome. Intrinsic motivation can come from a love for the activity, the satisfaction of personal growth, or the sense of achievement we derive from mastering a challenge. And here's the key point. Research consistently shows that while extrinsic rewards can deliver short-term boosts of happiness, intrinsic motivation is more strongly linked to long-term happiness and satisfaction. A multitude of studies have shown that people who are intrinsically motivated are more likely to maintain the interest, enjoyment and effort over the long haul, leading to higher levels of well-being. Why is this the case? One explanation is that intrinsic motivations aligns more closely with our core values and sense of self. When we are intrinsically motivated, we feel a sense of autonomy and competence. We are acting in accordance with our genuine interests and passions, which can create a profound sense of fulfillment and meaning. On the other hand, while extrinsic rewards can provide temporary enjoyment or relief, they often fall short in satisfying our deeper needs for autonomy, competence and relatedness, and can even create dependence and stress. The fundamental understanding of intrinsic and extrinsic motivation sets the stage for our discussion of the 8 worldly concerns. As we delve into each concern, we will challenge ourselves to rethink how we perceive these motivators and consider the potential benefits of shifting towards intrinsic motivations. Let's keep these insights about motivation in mind as we begin to dissect each of the 8 worldly concerns and their influence on our lives. Let's look into our first worldly concern, the desire for praise. Now, who among us doesn't enjoy a well-earned compliment or acknowledgement of our achievements? Praise can be a wonderful motivator, instilling confidence and reinforcing positive behaviors. It's that warm glow we feel when our efforts are recognized, a testament to our skills or the validation of our contributions. However, like most things in life, the pursuit of praise can become problematic when it morphs into a dependency or an obsession. If our sense of self-worth becomes too tightly wound around the validation of others, we can lose touch with our own values and judgments. This is when we might find ourselves bending over backwards to fit into societal molds, foregoing authenticity in favor of applause. A classic psychological phenomenon called groupthink beautifully demonstrates this. This term was first used by societal psychologist Irving Janis in 1972, and it describes situations where the desire for harmony or conformity in a group result in an irrational or dysfunctional decision-making outcome. People may suppress dissenting viewpoints, leading to a loss of individual creativity, uniqueness, and independent thinking. Similarly, Solomon Asch conformity experiments in the 1950s further demonstrate the powerful hold of societal pressure. In these experiments, individuals were shown to readily conform to the majority view, even when the view was obviously incorrect, all for the sake of fitting in. So, when our desire for praise pushes us to conform to suppress our authentic selves in exchange for societal approval. We are trading our uniqueness, our individuality for external validation. This can not only lead to a loss of self, but also to an inflated ego as we become more concerned with maintaining our image rather than fostering genuine relationships and personal growth. The antidote here isn't to shun praise completely, but to develop a healthy relationship with it. It's about knowing your worth independently of external validation, appreciating praise when it comes, but not becoming reliant on it for your self-esteem or happiness. As with many things in life, it's all about balance. Now, moving on to our second worldly concern. The fear of blame. Inherently, most of us have a knee-jerk aversion to blame. Being called out for our mistakes or failures isn't a pleasant experience. We often associate blame with feelings of guilt, embarrassment, or shame, and these emotions can sting deeply. However, just like praise isn't inherently positive, blame isn't inherently negative. Rather, it's our interpretation of it that determines its effect on us. If we view blame as a personal attack, we are likely to respond defensively, perhaps even lashing back in anger or denial. This response often stifles our growth, as we are essentially rejecting the opportunity to learn and improve. However, if we interpret blame as constructive criticism, as feedback about our actions rather than a judgment of our worth, it can serve as a powerful tool for personal growth and self-improvement. Blame can highlight areas of weakness we might have not recognized. It can enhance our self-awareness, and it can guide us in improving our behaviors. Furthermore, accepting blame when it's due is a testament to our accountability and integrity. Renowned organizational psychologist Adam Grant has spoken extensively about the value of accepting and learning from criticism. He notes that the ability to hear negative feedback and act on it is one of the hallmarks of successful people. So the next time you find yourself on the receiving end of blame, try to resist the instinct to deflect or deny. Instead, take a moment to consider the criticism. Is there truth in it? Can you learn from it? If so, you have just transformed a negative experience into a stepping stone for personal growth. Remember, it's not about enjoying blame or seeking it out. Rather, it's about not fearing it, recognizing its potential as an avenue for learning and growth. From the Tao Te Ching, the master does his job and then stops. He understands that the universe is forever out of control, and that trying to dominate events goes against the current of the Tao. Because he believes in himself, he doesn't try to convince others. Because he is content with himself, he doesn't need others' approval. Because he accepts himself, the whole world accepts him. Also, there is a Tibetan Buddhist practice used to inoculate one against both praise and blame. This is done by having the person stand in front of a mirror or record their voice or yell so hard outside it echoes. First, one lavishes oneself with praise, and then one calls oneself names and blames oneself for all kinds of things. The person doing this practice then focuses how it is just sound and notes what feelings arise. This helps one see how silly it is to give so much value to simple sounds. Now let's move on to fame. The allure of fame is potent. It's often associated with recognition, respect, and wealth. We look at celebrities with a kind of awe, admiring their success, their talents, and sometimes their extravagant lifestyles. But as the saying goes, not all that glitters is gold. Fame can bring a loss of privacy and a sense of isolation. Celebrities are under constant scrutiny with their every action dissected by the public and the media. This can lead to immense pressure to maintain a certain image or live up to other people's expectations. Consider the tragic stories of numerous celebrities such as Kurt Cobain or Amy Winehouse, who struggled with the pressure of fame and ultimately lost their lives too soon. Their stories serve as potent reminders that fame can be as much a burden as it is a blessing, giving rise to the so-called 27 Club, which is an informal listing of celebrities who have died at the age of 27. A study called The Path Taken: Consequences of Attaining Intrinsic and Extrinsic Aspirations in Post-College Life found that attainment of the extrinsic aspirations for money, fame, and image were unrelated to basic psychological need satisfaction and related slightly negatively to psychological health. The author noted in an interview that those who had attained the wealth and fame goals were less happy than those who had achieved more intrinsic goals such as personal growth. Why? Here is what some of the students told him. The whole process of being so on the treadmill to wealth, fame, and image leaves me feeling like a pawn or a puppet in life. End quote. Those who focused on intrinsic goals such as personal growth, enduring relationships, and helping in the community showed substantial increases in life satisfaction, well-being, and happiness areas, the researcher said. Moreover, fame can disconnect us from reality. Celebrities often live in a different world, surrounded by yes men and detached from the struggles of the average person. This disconnection can make it difficult to maintain a grounded perspective on life. What's more, fame is often fleeting. It's dependent on the whims and tastes of the public, and it can be here today and gone tomorrow. The fear of losing fame can, in itself, be a source of significant stress. The key point here is not to demonize fame, but to recognize it for what it is, not an endpoint, but a circumstance, and like any circumstance, it comes with its own unique challenges. This understanding can help us to approach the idea of fame with a balanced perspective, avoiding the trap of seeing it as a cure-all for our problems or a guaranteed route to happiness. Now let's shift our attention to insignificance, being overlooked or unseen. In our society, insignificance is often viewed negatively. We are taught from a young age to strive for recognition, to make our mark in the world. Yet this constant pursuit can sometimes lead us astray, making us forget the value of simple, authentic existence. Let's consider for a moment the freedom that comes with insignificance. Without the pressure of societal expectations, we are free to be ourselves, to live authentically and truthfully. In the words of philosopher Soren Kierkegaard, the most common form of despair is not being who you are, but when you are, in a word, insignificant, you have the space to discover and be who you truly are. Insignificance also brings with it a level of privacy that those in the spotlight often yearn for. While they are scrutinized for every move, the insignificant can live their lives in peace, away from the public eye. There's a kind of tranquility in being a nobody, a serenity in simply blending into the crowd. Some philosophers and thinkers have even advocated for this. Consider Diogenes the Cynic, who reportedly lived in a large ceramic jar in Athens. He deliberately chose a life of simplicity and insignificance, which he believed led to freedom and happiness. Perhaps it is time we reassessed our aversion to insignificance. After all, it is not fame or recognition that determines our worth, but our actions our values, and our ability to be at peace with ourselves. Insignificance does not mean unimportant. Each of us, in our own insignificant way, contributes to the tapestry of human existence. Borrowing from the Tao Te Ching again, quote, "The master can keep giving because there is no end to her wealth. She acts without expectation, succeeds without taking credit, and doesn't think that she is better than anyone else." Also, time on one's self is essential for self-growth, and one study showed that solitude could be used to lessen negative affect and for improved relaxation and reduced stress. It is easier to have solitude when your every move is not followed by the public. We have covered praise, blame, fame and insignificance, and now it's time to shine a spotlight on pleasure. Pleasure, by its very nature, is something we seek. It's hardwired into our survival instincts: food, warmth, companionship. These basic pleasures are rewards that encourage behaviors essential for our survival. But in our modern world, where pleasures are available at the click of a button, we can get stuck in a cycle of constant pleasure seeking. This cycle is described in the theory in psychology known as the hedonic treadmill. This theory suggests that while we feel a burst of happiness when we experience something pleasurable, we quickly return to our baseline level of happiness. So we seek out the next pleasure and the next in a never-ending pursuit. But like a treadmill, we are running without actually getting anywhere. Research supports this theory. Studies have found that those who constantly seek out pleasure can become desensitized to it, requiring ever-increasing doses to achieve the same level of happiness. This can lead to addiction, mental health issues, and overall dissatisfaction with life. Furthermore, the constant pursuit of pleasure can make us avoid necessary hardship. As the saying goes, no pain, no gain. Sometimes it's the struggles we face, the discomfort we feel, that leads to the most growth and fulfillment. The pursuit of pleasure can also distract us from deeper forms of fulfillment, meaningful relationships, personal growth, and contributing to our community. In Buddhist philosophy, this is the understanding of the middle way, finding a balance between the constant seeking of pleasure and the avoidance of pain. This balance allows for a more profound sense of happiness and fulfillment. From the pursuit of pleasure, we now turn to its inevitable counterpart, pain. Pain, as we all know, is something we naturally avoid. Physical pain can be a signal that something is wrong with our bodies, and emotional pain can be equally, if not more, distressing. Yet, as we are about to explore, pain is not without its own unique value and lessons. As the well-known saying in the sports world goes, no pain, no gain. Athletes are no strangers to pain and hardships, and whether it's the physical strain of intense training or the emotional toll of loss or injury. But it's often these moments of pain that lead to personal growth and outstanding achievements. In psychological research, this concept is known as post-traumatic growth. Studies have shown that paradoxically, experiencing adversity can lead to positive psychological change. It can make us stronger, more resilient, and more empathetic. It can provide an impetus for change and growth and help us appreciate the good times even more. Our perception of pain also plays a significant role in our experience of it. For example, the burn in our muscles during a workout can be interpreted as a sign of progress and therefore rewarding and motivating. Similarly, many people willingly go to hot saunas or swim in ice water. While these could be seen as painful experiences, they are perceived as invigorating and pleasurable due to the mindset we bring into them. Acknowledging and accepting the presence of pain instead of resisting it is a key step towards inner peace and enlightenment. By understanding the inherent value in painful experiences, we can reduce our suffering and enhance our resilience. Now let's explore the topic of gain. In our society, acquiring possessions, wealth or success is often seen as the ultimate goal. We are told that these things can provide us with security, comfort and happiness. However, is this always the case? Research suggests otherwise. For example, studies on lottery winners have shown that sudden wealth often leads to unhappiness rather than the anticipated joy, while the initial thrill of financial windfall can be exhilarating. The subsequent changes in lifestyle and relationships can lead to a sense of isolation, confusion, and even despair. While these findings have later been questioned, it has been shown that even lottery winners return to their base level of happiness, so gain does not bring lasting happiness. This idea is also reflected in the concept of affluenza, a term coined by psychologists to describe the stress, addiction, and unhappiness that can come with the pursuit of wealth. Research shows that beyond a certain point, more wealth does not lead to more happiness. In fact, it can even decrease our level of contentment due to increased stress and anxiety about maintaining our wealth and status. From the Buddhist perspective, the pursuit of external gain can distract us from cultivating inner peace and contentment. When we are constantly striving for more, we become attached to what we have and fear of losing it. Our desires can never be fully satisfied because once one is fulfilled, another takes its place. As a result, we find ourselves stuck in an endless cycle of wanting, acquiring, and wanting again. Buddhist teachings suggest that the key to breaking this cycle is to cultivate non-attachment and contentment, to find happiness not in what we have, but in who we are. Our final topic for today's episode is loss. Experiencing loss, whether it's the loss of a loved one, a job, or a prized possession, can be profoundly devastating. It can shake us to the core and make us question our sense of stability and security. However, within this despair and devastation, there can also be valuable lessons and even growth. Firstly, experiencing loss can teach us about the impermanent nature of life. Everything we have, everything we know is temporary and subject to change. This awareness can help us appreciate what we have when we have it and encourage us to live more fully in the present moment. Furthermore, loss can lead to increased resilience, humility, and compassion. It can make us more understanding of others' suffering and make us more capable of facing adversity. Lastly, loss can help us liberate ourselves from attachments. Buddhist teachings emphasize that attachments cause suffering. When we attach ourselves to something, we live in fear of losing it and often go to great lengths to protect it, causing ourselves unnecessary stress and anxiety. By experiencing loss, we learn to let go, which can lead to a sense of peace and freedom. In a way, not having prized possessions or relationships to depend on can free us from these burdens. A home, a job, a family, while all provide benefits, they also tie us down and force us to compromise. Without these attachments, we can be more free. I want to touch upon a fascinating piece of research that relates to both gain and loss in a very positive way. It has been found that giving away money can actually lead to more satisfaction than receiving it. When we think of the concept of gain, we usually associate it with acquiring more for ourselves. More money, more possessions, more success. We may even believe that the more we have, the happier we will be. However, studies have shown that the reality is quite different. In one study, employees who received a bonus reported no significant increases in happiness. However, those who spent a portion of their bonus on others or donated it to charity reported a higher level of happiness and satisfaction. In other words, giving away money made people happier than keeping it for themselves. This may sound counterintuitive from the perspective of the gain mentality, but it makes sense when we consider the psychological benefits of giving. Giving fosters a sense of connectedness with others, cultivates gratitude, and enhances our sense of purpose and meaning. Furthermore, it allows us to see ourselves as more than just consumers or accumulators. We become contributors who can make a positive difference in the world. Moreover, giving ties into the concept of loss that we discussed earlier. By giving away our resources, we are willingly experiencing a kind of loss, but this loss is not associated with suffering or deprivation. Instead, it leads to a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment. The act of giving challenges our conventional understanding of gain and loss. It shows us that true gain may not lie in accumulating more for ourselves, but in enhancing the well-being of others. And what we perceive as loss can sometimes lead to a profound sense of gain. So, next time you receive a bonus or find some extra change in your pocket, consider giving a portion of it away. You might be surprised by the joy it brings. Let's do a quick recap of the 8 worldly concerns we've discussed today: praise, blame, fame, insignificance, pleasure, pain, gain, and loss. Each one of these comes with its own potential for both joy and suffering, for growth and stagnation, and the determining factor lies in our own perspective. By shifting our mindset, we can uncover the hidden downsides of fame and gain, such as loss of privacy and an unending cycle of desire. On the flip side, we can find hidden benefits in blame, insignificance, pain, and loss. These might offer us opportunities for growth, authenticity, resilience, and compassion. The key is not to reverse our desires or aversions, but to transcend them, to view these worldly concerns with equanimity, without clinging to them or running away from them. This gives us the freedom to experience life more fully and with less stress, not dependent on praise or fearful of blame, not desperate for fame or worried about insignificance, not addicted to pleasure or terrified of pain, and not clinging to gain or devastated by loss. When we see these concerns for what they really are, mere transient experiences, we can step back and observe them without getting entangled. We can ride the waves of life with balance and poise, making the most out of every crest and throw. It's been a pleasure sharing these insights with you today, and I hope you have gained something valuable from it, perhaps even losing a bit of stress or a few fixed mindsets along the way. Remember, every perception can be seen from multiple angles. Every concern has both its shadows and its light. As we part ways for now, take this thought with you. In the grand play of life, we are both the playwrights and the audience, able to rewrite our scripts and reshape our perceptions. We don't have to be puppets of the 8 worldly concerns. Instead, we can learn to master them. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Until next time, this is Mindset Forge signing off with the reminder: keep forging your mind, for it's the master of your reality. And thank you for listening to this episode of the Mindset Forge. I hope you found it informative and the lessons and practices spoken in it relevant to your situation. I also hope you found it as entertaining to listen as I found making it to be. If you found it beneficial, be sure to follow Mindset Forge on Spotify as well as on YouTube, where you can also give us a thumbs up. Also, make sure to check out our Discord server for further discussion, where you can contact me directly. Links in description and channel information. There you can also find the link to my book, which I have self-published on Amazon, called Death Drive. If speculative dystopian near-future sci-fi sounds like a cup of tea, getting the book is a great way to support my work as an author. So have a nice day and memento cerebrum formare.